Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm and SuperTalk TV. If you're watching on SuperTalk TV, it looks a little bit different because, full disclosure, we are recording this at 8 o'clock Central Time on Thursday morning. Honored to be joined by Clay Cromwell, who is a defensive tackle at the Naval Academy. He is entering his senior year. This will be the third Army-Navy game, Navy-Army game that he has played in, and he's kind enough to spend a few minutes with us. 4 years, from my perspective, 4 years goes by in a hurry. What about when you are at the academy? Does it go fast, Clay?
It does. It may not seem like it initially, but it definitely has gone by really quickly. A common saying is the days are long, but the weeks are short. And somehow that's true. It's turned out to be true. It's hard to believe I'm at my last game.
It really is incredible. For people that don't know, you are from Oxford, Mississippi, won a 2019 state championship with the Oxford Chargers, go Chargers, but also were a track and field guy. Could you run the hurdles right now if you had to?
As much as I'd like to think I could, I don't think so. It's been a while since I've been on the track, but changed a little bit. It's nice to think about, though, that I could do that at one point.
And the hair is a little different than it was then also, right?
It's a little bit shorter. I just had it buzzed all the way down recently for the Marine Corps. I found out that's what I'm going to be able to do when I graduate. So
I also saw in your bio, and this is impressive, especially for somebody in me who was always looking for a way not to go to school. You didn't miss a single day of school in high school. Is that true?
I think so. Yeah, I don't think I've missed or I didn't miss any school in high school. Probably because my mom's a teacher. When I went, she was still a teacher at the high school, so that probably had something to do with it.
Let's talk family just for a second. You have a military background in your family. How much did that play into your decision to go to the academy? And if you don't mind, just take us back to the recruiting process when you were playing football, running track at Oxford, and then you end up at the Naval Academy.
Yeah, well, I guess your first question, my dad, he served in the Marine Corps for his career. He actually didn't go to the Naval Academy, but I always knew that I would probably try to serve in the military at some point. And then as I started playing football, really started playing varsity football like halfway through my junior year of high school. I literally joined the team after like the fifth game. And then played, and I was like, okay, I want to try to play college, which is kind of late in the game to decide to do that.
Yeah.
But it worked out, and just looking at some schools, and I was like, well, it just makes perfect sense if I'm going to try to serve anyway. And then Navy plays great football, so it just made sense for me to come here.
It certainly has been incredible. So 2020 was your first year, and that was a really strange year for everybody. Navy had no football in 2020, right?
We played football. We played, I think, 12 games actually, but
Okay.
It was
but everything else was basically on lockdown, and you didn't play in 2020, but then 21, 22, and this year you've been on the field every game as a defensive lineman.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
All right. So these last 2 years in particular, or maybe I should go back to your first year, because that was a win against Army. Last year, the heartbreaking double overtime loss, and now this one, this specific game. Try to help us understand what it means at the academy.
Well, I guess to go back to 2020, when we were uncertain of what was going to happen, we knew we were going to play one game, and that was this game. So when games were getting canceled and whatnot, we could always practice for Army. So that gives you the idea of what it means. That's a little bit, but as a player, I mean, there's I think a really big personal thing for me, it's like we wear patches on our uniform that you can pick and what that represents. And this year I got to I had chosen to wear the Brendan Looney patch, which, like, if you learn anything about him, he played football and lacrosse here actually, and unfortunately he was killed in Afghanistan in 2010. He was a Navy SEAL, but it's kind of that's like the gravity of it. Like, guys like that played in this game, and for me personally, that's a tremendous honor and a huge deal.
Have you gotten to the point yet where you have made your selection for where you would like to go post graduation?
Yes, I'm going to be a Marine officer when I graduate.
Have you known that all along? Has that been your plan all along, or did you kind of keep that under your vest and then get to share that with your dad at some point, knowing that that was the path he took?
He knew all along. I know a lot of my. It's very common for people here to like come in wanting to do one thing and they change their mind very frequently just as they learn more about it. But I've always been set on that, and I'm glad I stuck with it and was able to accomplish that.
We're visiting with Clay Cromwell. He's from Oxford, Mississippi, played football at Oxford High School. He's the starting defensive tackle for the Naval Academy coming up on Army-Navy this weekend. And it's being played in a new spot. It's been a really long time since it's been played in Boston. You guys are going to be at the Meadowlands. I think it's Jonathan Kraft, Robert Kraft's son, who said that this is the hottest ticket in the history of the stadium, including Patriots in the AFC Championship game and Taylor Swift this summer. It's wild.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see that. I mean, because Tom Brady, Taylor Swift. Hey, Navy football is right up there.
It's right up there. Have you given much thought to what it's going to feel like when you run on the field for this game for the last time?
And I've been thinking about it a lot, actually, and going back and watching Army Navy games, and when you show the teams running out, like the flyovers, like it's a huge like adrenaline rush, but it's awesome, and it's hard, not to miss that, but embrace it this one last time.
On a slightly more serious note, I'm curious if the mood at the academy changes based on world events. I mean, obviously, there's the conflict that's happening with Russia and Ukraine. You've got the conflict that's happening with Israel and Palestine. Do you guys have a sense when things are kind of going crazy and there's some hot spots in the world that, okay, this could become real fast for us?
Very much so. There's a sense of that. I mean, when it comes down to it, that's kind of the business of, that's the business we're getting ourselves into. But um, also talking to some teammates who have graduated since, and now they're, kind of the ones like on call for that. That is kind of what they're preparing for. So it is very like, present, I guess, in people's minds.
What about the uniforms for the game? Do you guys get pretty fired up when they do the big uniform reveal a couple of weeks out, or do you even care?
Yeah, everybody gets really excited for it. They bring us all together and like have a team meeting, and then we watch like the release video that some guy comes in wearing it. And it's a pretty big deal. It's cool, and everybody likes it. I'm always surprised. Like each year, it's always better than the last, in my opinion. Like I like them all.
And this year's the all Navy, right?
Yeah, it's the submarine force, and it's like really dark blue.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Just a couple of minutes left with Clay Cromwell. So I did one of your games earlier this year, the game at Charlotte, and when we talked to Coach Newberry before the game, we were talking about you, and he's like, I guess he's going to go. He's hurt. He's been hurt since the beginning of the year, but he just kind of keeps going out there. Have you done that week after week? Because you played in every game. You've been banged up since the very beginning of the season. You're not exactly playing a position at defensive tackle where you just gotta get to take it easy. I mean, it's a grind. Have you done it each week?
I think it's more like a mindset you take to approaching it, not letting something like that limit you. And the trainers and stuff obviously do a great job of like helping me be able to play every week. I can't say enough for them. I spend a lot of time in the training room, but um, I when else am I going to have opportunities like this? So I'm certainly not going to let something like that keep me out. That's just not going to happen.
They would have to like cut your leg off to keep you out of this one, right? And then you'd figure out a way to go in still.
Yeah, that's not even a question, not even a thought. So
It's incredible, Clay. Thank you for your service. Thanks for your time this morning, and go Navy.
yes, sir. Beat Army. Thank you.
Clay Cromwell, defensive tackle at the Naval Academy.